Very nice to meet you in video. I mean, we have been talking a lot through email. I'm very happy to see you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Me too.
You have sent in many projects to Elektor, and also very interesting projects. We would like to know a little bit more about you, and I think other people who read Elektor might also be interested in you as a person. So can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, sir. I am Somnath Bera. I am from India. By birth, I am Bengali. And Bengali, it's a variety of Indian races. Actually, in fact, India is a melting pot of races. We have more than 200 races, caste and creed system in our country. And I am one of the exhibit of that museum. This Bengal is towards the eastern part of our country. We have 13 official languages in India, and out of which Bengali is one of the most favored language. And in fact, in Bengal, there was a Nobel laureate for writing Bengali poetries, Rabindranath Tagore. And except Bengali, for this functional reason, I had to learn Hindi also. So other than English, I also know Hindi language. Hindi is the official language of India.
Very good. How old are you?
Yes, I am 53 years of age. My daughter, she is also an electronic engineer.
Okay.
But the fact is that now she repents to be an electronic engineer. She wants to be a lawyer now.
A lawyer. Okay.
Nowadays, she is studying international laws. So, in her view, electronics is not a very interesting and intellectual thing. Laws is more interesting.
Yes, why not? Why not? But you do electronics. But you are not an electronics engineer, are you?
Yes. I'm far away from being an electronic engineer. I wanted to be an electronic engineer long back, but I did not get chance in electronic stream. So instead, I joined the mechanical stream. I am a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
Electronic is my actually hobby, and my father instilled that hobby in me. My father, he was a not a very educated person. He had the basic middle stream education, but he had that fascination of electronics. That was the time when people used to have the super heterodyne radios, having a huge antenna on the
Yes.
rooftop. And my father had that diode radio, you know.
Yes, of
That was
course.
the size of a soap case, and that was a huge interesting thing to us. My father used to hang up that huge antenna, and me with my friends sitting all around that box, we used to hear it turn by turn. So that was the point when I got interested in electronics. I am located in Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh, it is the central part of our country. And of course, this place is a hinterland of this area. Here we have a huge setup, 4,760 megawatt power plant we are running here.
You are working on for a power
NTCP.
plant.
Yes, thermal power plant. Yes, it's a very big one.
Yeah, is it the biggest of India?
It is. It is the biggest thermal power plant of our country.
You live near that power plant, and that's where you discovered Elektor.
Yes. Going through that reference, I ordered that Raspberry Pi computer first. Then I started working on Raspberry Pi computer. Then after that, I bought some Arduinos. Then did some project on Arduinos. And nowadays, I'm working more on these ESPs, ESP32. I actually work in the capacity of additional general manager. It is a second position apart from the head of the plant of this station.
Okay, and so then how do you combine this with your electronics?
You can say that's my hobby. So the moment I come back from the plant, I head for my lab. It is on the top floor, and I keep on working there. Yeah, last 4 or 5 years, I'm finding that I'm being able to mix my hobby into my functional areas. There was 5 projects I have done for our NTPC, which are related to my ash handling system. Ash handling, after burning coal, the ash remains. And Indian coal, it has got a huge amount of ash. And I have to take away that ash right from power plant boiler to the ash dike, which is about 13 kilometers away from here. So most of the jobs you will find that it has got a relation with this ash handling system, waste management. But
Yes.
that's a huge problem.
Yes, you do a lot of projects related to this
Yes.
waste management with Raspberry Pi and
Yes,
Arduino
sir.
and LoRa. That's not your job. That's
Yes, sir.
your hobby. So you combine your hobby with your job.
Yes, sir.
And your boss lets you do that.
Yes, he never stopped me. He accepts all my projects. In fact, he is asking me to carry out more projects to induct our young engineers into these fields.
Okay.
And besides, I also train our school children. A lot of school children used to come to me for building up projects.
You try to educate school children too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very nice.
Yes,
The
sir.
projects you do, they are used by your company. But
Yes, 5 projects have been used by our company so far. One is that right now I am doing, that is an eco hopper ash flow indication. Because see, this ash is a huge problem for Indian boilers. And if you cannot manage ash, you have to stop your boilers at any point of time. And this economizers, what is that? It handles very high temperature ash.
okay.
And it is flowing through the ash hoppers. There is no facility to monitor whether the ash is properly flowing or not, except other than by touching it, by hammering it. So there I am doing a project where I am putting a lot of temperature sensors, thermocouples, and therefrom I am uploading the temperatures using that spread spectrum radios, bringing it to my control room, and there I am putting it in a trained manner with the trains and all those pictorials I am putting there. So when the temperature changes, you can have an idea whether the flow is happening or not. See, for most of these projects, I normally do the thinking part, and designing that process also I am doing. And if there is one project I did, that ash dike level monitoring. See, those ash dikes are situated 13 kilometers from here. So monitoring that level was a big challenge to us. So I set up that the process I set up. I thought that this way we could bring that level from there to our control room, and our team consisting of a instrumentation engineer and one mechanical engineer, they set up all those posts where we fixed those level controllers. Then they used that solar panels, and they formed a team also. They are educated about those processes, how the Arduino works, how the ESP32 works. So that way the team helped me to set up those things. And right now the project I am doing, that monitoring that temperature of the conduits which will be carrying husk. So in this Indian subcontinent, there is a huge amount of husk production. And
Okay.
people, when they cannot find how to consume that husk, they simply burn it. On the hinterland in the evening, you will find huge smokes are coming up. So our company is going to enter into a business. We will be buying those husks and we'll be firing them into the boiler. So there, that supplying husk through the conduct in a pneumatic conveyor inside a pipe, it's a very precious job, because husk has having a very high volatile content. So you have to monitor temperature very precisely. So there I am going to set up that one wire bus using that metallic DSB 1820. We'll be measuring temperature and we'll control it not to go beyond 70 degree. And we are putting huge number of this one wire bus temperature sensors.
Okay.
And our instrumentation engineer and our mechanical engineer, they are setting up those pockets where we will be inserting those temperature probes. And at the end of that bus, we will be setting up a computer to monitor those temperatures. And finally, it will go to the control room where it will be taken as a feedback control.
You are building these projects with Arduino and Raspberry Pi and cheap modules that you buy from China or from the market. Are they good enough for
Yes,
this work?
it's very good. It works.
But the things you buy on Alibaba, that's you can use that in industrial environments.
Yes.
Okay.
But while using some of those things like thermocouples, you have to buy those good quality thermocouples.
So all this work that you are doing, what does your wife think about it? Did you ever see her?
No, she is right now, she is there at Howrah. She is visiting her parents. Actually, my wife and my daughter, they know that I have a passion for this job. So they never opposed me, they rather they help me. And my pet dog Daichi, he is my most companion.
Can we see him?
Yeah,
Ca-
yes, you can see him. He is sitting here. He is sitting. He is sitting here. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute.
Okay, so he is helping
he
you
is,
with
he is
your projects.
yes, he helps me. He gives me company. In fact, my wife likes my blogs. I am a blog writer also.
Okay.
I
On
write a lot of blogs. I used to publish in a paper in Mumbai. Even 2 weeks back, also I had an article published. There, this Daichi is also featured.
okay.
So my wife is a big fan of my blogs. She wants me to write more blogs than electronic articles.
Okay. Yeah, well, you're a very busy person. And what will be your next project that you are going to propose to Elektor?
What I'm right now working on that gas line leakage project. Because in a gas line, I have seen that ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Company, or Indian Oil, while monitoring their gas lines or pipelines, oil pipelines, they measure the shock wave, pressure shock wave. So that same thing I'm going to implement in my gas pipelines. Because gas pipelines are traveling through the locality, villages, then small towns. So there I have to monitor that leakages. I cannot have to have leakages on those gas pipelines. So there I am going to measure that pressure shock waves by installing that pressure sensors on the both ends.
Okay.
And if there is a leakage in the pipeline, it will monitor that, it will measure that pressure shock wave very precisely. I'm putting GPS clocks, synchronized that devices on the both ends. It will measure the temperature, this time. And the idea is this, that if the leakage happens at the center, then both the sensor will monitor the same time. Means T1 minus T2 will be 0. And if there is a difference, the leakage will be shifted to one side. So this is the idea on which I'm going to work now. And so we will come up with a solution. Our team is now devising some methodology how to create that leakage and how to monitor that leakage points, that moments of leakages. This is one project I am doing. And the other project I am right now working. In fact, nowadays I am learning more on TensorFlow and Scikit, that deep learning and machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
So using that machine learning, what we'll do, we're going to take up a project in which that boiler, when the boiler burns coal, all the coals should burn and formed into ash, and ash will be evacuated. This is the idea of having a boiler running smoothly. But if it does not happen so, there will be choking. The choking will start inside the boiler. That's a very dangerous point. So the solution is that one engineer will go to the boiler, he'll look through the peephole, or there are a lot of that optical fiber system is installed in our boilers. They'll go to the screen, he will monitor it, and he will say that, okay, there is no leakage. So we are trying to automate this system. We'll video analytic, we'll video analyze those pictures, and every moment it will take a picture, analyze it, and it will say the choking has started or not. The job is repetitive, nothing intelligence in it, but it will relieve those engineers. The engineers are always involved in finding out those things. And the one project, two projects have been taken up as company wide. So for 100 boilers, I have to supply those devices. So I'm crossing my fingers.
But you have to build them yourself.
So we cannot make it. Yeah, 100 boilers is a huge task.
What else happens with your projects? I have understood that you also use them for competitions.
Yes, that dike level monitoring that has won that Southeast Asia Team Excellence Award 2 years back. And this year also, I am going to take up one project that possibly this Eco Hopper project will be taken up, or the cooling tower monitoring system that will be taken up. I may not be able to participate in that because I am right now at administrative level, but our team will go and participate. I will have to help them as a coach.
Okay. Still very exciting.
Yes. I enjoy it.
Yes, no, I'm really amazed because you address really big problems. That is, it's hard to imagine the size of the things you address with such simple systems, such simple modules and solutions. That makes it, I think, really interesting. Would you like to say something to the readers of Elektor?
Yeah, see, I understand that this computer science and electronics is a merging field. I also tell our school students also that there is a very fine, thin difference between this computer science and electronics. And in fact, it is merging so fast on each other, is that say that if electronics is imagination, then computer science provides words to that imagination. It helps electronics to build up those projects. So both the things are complementary to each other. And now what I find that this small devices like Arduino has become quite old today. Now ESP8266 or ESP32, they're much big, much powerful, and they can do more work compared to that Arduinos. And as the time moves on, these microcontrollers will be more and more powerful. And in fact, in a couple of years' time, I think these devices will have that millions of iteration capacity, by which they can deploy that machine learning that create that trend curve for building up their its own algorithm. So machine learning actually creates that algorithm by which giving input, it gives out output. So getting that output, it needs to have its own trend curve. For that, it needs to have hundreds, thousands of iterations. So these devices are going to have that capacity. And for that, I want Elektor should encourage developers to go in a more collaborative way, because working in a solo mode, in isolation, in a remote laboratory, you may come up with some amazing theory, amazing infrequent projects. But to engineer that project in a real life, to create value to the society, you need to have collaborations. Otherwise, you will land up thousands of issues during execution stage. You see, Linux is such a system. It developed in collaboration, and it has everything. If we seek anything today, we can have it in Linux, because Linux is developed by everybody, not by any one individual. So if Electron can find some way to involve developers, project developers in a collaborative way to create a project, it will have bigger impact. And it can be implemented straight away in the execution field. and it will bring more value to the society. After all, electronics, whatever it is doing, it will make life easier, happier, brighter.
Yes, I think you are a great example of how to pass on knowledge to the future, to the next generation, and to show what you can do with simple means. And yes, I think it's really impressive what you are doing. So I hope you will continue doing it, and I hope you will continue sending it to us.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It's a great pleasure to me to talk to Elektor directly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for this interview. Let's say goodbye then, and good luck.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay, bye bye.
bye bye.